Perfect. So I think we can start. Let me start sharing my screen. Here we go. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. It's a very significant moment for us. It's been, I still remember 1 year ago when we launched JOGL. We had so much ambition, and we were clearly dreamers, but we knew also that what we were telling was still a dream, and we were still to see, happen what would a giant community like the one you are right now would do, and it's been such a fantastic adventure so far. And so we are very happy to share this moment with you. We're going to come back a little bit on the history of JOGL, how we came to this, and then to tell you also more about you, about the community. We have Mark. No, you kind of like used to it, because every week we have the global community call where Mark comes back and says the kind of like the weather of the community. And so he did with his team and Kemi a lot of work on trying to analyze what happened also with the community. Leo did the same with the technology, with the platform, and in fact the whole development team has been working really hard on trying to push a fundamentally quite a kind of like new version of the platform. We know more if everything went well. Okay, I think you said that it didn't go well. We tried to push, as I was telling you at the beginning, and I think it crashed. So maybe not for right now, but let's say for later today. Okay, so where do we come from, by the way? So JOGL is really the story of three friends. It's Mark, Leo, and myself. We've known each other for a lot of years. I've known Mark for more than, I think, 15 years now, and yeah, and we all did the same school. I didn't meet Leo there, but at the end, when we came together and we talked about what we wanted to do for Open Science, it was clear that we wanted to do it together. And so I'm very proud actually to do this great adventure with you guys. It's been such an intensity, and I don't think I could have been able to do it without you. It's like such hardness, such hardship. Is you can only do that with friends, with people that understand who you are, how you work, that can have empathy, and we can have empathy between each other. We went through so much hardship. We've been basically working on this idea for now, I think, about 4 years, and so it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm incredibly proud to do that with the both of you. A little bit, more about each of us. I started as an academic researcher, but clearly this path was not for me. I loved what I was doing, but I felt too restricted. I very early on, I tried to create communities to do science together. Open communities. I participated in iGEM. I co-founded the first French iGEM team back in 2007. I also brought the DIY bio movement in France and started the first biohacker space in France, one of the very first in the world, LABORATORIES, back in 2009. And became also had this entrepreneurship experience with LABORATORIES and PD, and then at the end, everything somehow converged for me, because I couldn't see myself being purely an entrepreneur or being purely a scientist. It's like I was too fascinated by how community were working and what we could do together. And so at the end, it's like, how can we create this community science at a large scale? We are not equipped for that today, and so that's what brought us together with Mark and Leo. And I'm going to leave the microphone to Mark so that he can say more about himself, to where he comes from.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. Maybe so it's a bit of a different path because I stayed in academia, and because what I'm interested in, and I think that's something that unites a lot of us and a lot of people working actually around the project or surrounding the project, is how organisms work, how a collective set of entities can create a bigger entity that has new function, that's where you have new properties that emerge. And that's what I've been studying initially in physics and in philosophy of science. But after that, I spent a lot of time looking at biology and looking at interactions between proteins and between cells. And I slowly began to do that, looking at how people interact, how teams interact, and how they can scale. And questions naturally, came to me of how do we make that happen when you have a lot of people doing that together? And throughout the years, and following about the progress also that Thomas was making with the community building and discussing with Leo, who will talk a bit him just after, it became clear that we wanted to do something in the context of knowledge production, of how we can use these tools, these tools of network science and these tools of the theories underlying biological organization and social organizations to try to design communities and to help communities thrive, to develop knowledge. And so that's kind of like something that's in my academic path, I merged at some point, and you can show the next slide, maybe, Thomas, I think. You can show the next slide. Yes, which is something that I've developed as a research lab in those past 2 years, looking at the fundamentals of how communities interact, evolve, innovate, whether it's open source communities or open science communities or collaborative learning and open learning communities. And JOGL is really the place where we try to implement, experiment, and apply those fundamental understandings of how people connect. And that's something we'll show a bit later on, but that's been the kind of intellectual path to bringing that stone to the triplets. And now I'll give the voice to Leo.
Yeah, I probably don't have a slide for this because, as we said, there's a lot of hardship. And one of that is that Thomas used PowerPoint for making this presentation, which means that I could not participate because I'm on Linux all the time. Therefore, PowerPoint Linux doesn't work. So, I mean, we're open science, open source, open technologies, etc. But this presentation was made on PowerPoint. No, it's fine. No, but the very quick, like how I came to be on JOGL is kind of a straightforward journey almost, because of all of the activism I've been doing since I'm a child, and my life took me towards science and academia, where I started studying physics, then switched to biology, to come back to physics, applied to biology, and because I just liked how it all interacted together, and in the interdisciplinarity, how this allows for better ways of thinking about problems. And that's about when I met Mark. Actually, was yeah, like a decade ago. When
I was teaching you bioinformatics.
Exactly, you were teaching me Python, and now I'm like teaching you Python. You were trying to teach me Python, but anyway. So, but yeah, no, it was we met at the ENS, and then since then I went on to do a PhD at Harvard. So I'm also an academic, Right now I'm at the crossroad, ending my PhD and then trying to decide what to do with my life, staying in academia versus not, and we'll see where my life takes me. Anyway, in any case, I came to make JOGL because I was convinced that academia, as important and amazing as it is for producing scientific research, was missing 99% of humanity in its inclusiveness. And I don't believe that anyone should be able to hold such keys to something like science. And so I wanted to open science. And when we all met and all of us had this sort of like similar idea of what needed to do, what needed to happen. And then we just worked really hard for the last 4 years. Many hours were put into making JOGL what it is today. And I'm genuinely so happy to see what it's becoming and to see so many people using it and participating and collaborating and so many scientific projects happening. Like, this is like a dream come true. And this is thanks to you all, because you're following us and you're believing in us and you're helping us make this world a better place. So yeah, thank you JOGL, but thank you the community that's empowering themselves with what we're trying to make.
It's a good transition. Thank you, Leo. So I think the common theme that we live today, that we've experienced recently with Open COVID-19, but that has been happening thanks to the era of the internet, is that we live in the age of communities. Communities have always existed since the beginning of the Homo sapiens, let's say. But like the digital technologies have given us a huge opportunity of connecting to way beyond what we would normally actually consider feasible, and so it's a unique opportunity to break the barriers of the walls, the physical walls, of institutions. And especially when you look at science is made of a lot of walls, of physical walls. And so digital technologies are this capacity. Communities have the capacity of breaking those walls. So it's very interesting to see how we can go with this flow. And Leo, Mark, myself, and many others here, we've all experienced what it is to be part of a community. And so at the end is, how can we create and support communities on the long term for them to be able to do science in the best way possible, meaning to target local problems, we have seen for the past decades, maybe more, the creation of open laboratories. We have thousands of them nowadays, and all those laboratories. So when you look at them, it's kind of like an interesting critical mass, but there are not so many collaborations between those laboratories. There are not so many examples of projects where you have huge consortiums of, let's say, makerspaces, biohackerspaces, etc. When you have this in the academic world, so how can we actually bring that aspect? How can we create a framework that facilitates collaboration, large-scale collaboration, even within the grassroots movements, for example? So that was also a key point for us. I was speaking of biohacker spaces, and it's even actually beyond open laboratories, and it's really about how do you provide the tools to all citizens so that they can ask questions by themselves. We have tools nowadays that are so cheap that were normally reserved to the elite 20, 30 years ago, that people can ask new kind of questions, they can explore new kind of themes. And institutions are not able to do that. And so they're not able to provide support to large communities. So we need a new kind of institutions, basically. And then we have, the sustainable development goals. We live on a planet that is suffering from our presence with climate change. We are self-suffering for, for all the activities that we have. With the Open COVID-19 is another example. And so there was never more need for a large scale, a planetary scale, movement to build science, to build tools that can solve those problems. And so that's basically the goal, the ambition. Obviously, it's a huge ambition, and we are very far from it. But the idea is that how do you build that? How do you come to that moment where all the existing communities can collaborate with each other, they can crossbreed, and they can produce something that maybe nobody will have seen in the history of humanity, because we'll have attained a critical mass which is higher than what academic science, for example, can do today. And when you look actually at what exists out there, there are a lot of tools for social networks, platform for facilitating science, but that's only for academics. And again, the goal here is not to say, we have to focus all our energy on current institutions. No, current institutions will never be enough. They're important, but they're not enough. We need to extend. We need to diversify who can contribute. And so that's at the heart of JOGL. How do we support, also the grassroots movements, basically. And when you look at the potential here, like how many people can we reach out? We can consider that there is about 8 to 10 million active researchers in the world. What I mean by that is the number of people actually contributing to peer reviewing papers. So they have an author name, on one of the papers. That's about the person in the 1,000 on this planet. And when you look at how many people got higher education, that's about 1 billion. And so the gap is huge. So how can we recover that? How can we provide opportunities to maybe not go up to 1 billion immediately, but to go at least 10 times this number, 80 million? That would be huge already. And imagine what we could do together. Another thing that is interesting that really speaks for how academic institutions are structured is they're very dependent of their own business model. And there is, because the race for grants is extremely hard, those institutions have evolved in a way that is not very actually welcoming for the younger generation. When you look at this graph, you have the evolution of the average age somehow for when a researcher in the US can get access to an NIH grant. And you could see that the average age in the 80s, that was about 40, 45 years old. And it moves basically with the baby boomers. And when you look, what's interesting is to look actually not for the average age, but to look for the probability for you to get a grant when you're less than 35 years old or even 30 years old. And this is decreasing by a lot. Like today, the probability for you to get such a grant before 30 years old is almost zero. And that's pretty much shocking, because just take two examples, Darwin and Einstein, they both did their main discoveries before the age of 30. Darwin was on the Beagle at the age of 21. He didn't create the theory of evolution right away, but that was a transforming experience for him. And Einstein was not even actually in academia, but still actually could work, on his research and do a lot of, before the age of 30. So it's interesting actually to see how current institutions are somehow failing, the younger generation, where especially if we look at the US, where the price for education is so high. So there is a need to change. So how do we solve that? There is an accessibility issue. Obviously, you have a lot of people, researchers, entrepreneurs, civil servants, activists that have a pretty good idea about what they want to do, the kind of problems they want to solve. And then on the other side, you have a lot of people, students, patients, citizens, professionals that have a normal job but would like to contribute. They don't know where to start. There is a bit of background noise. Somebody needs to mute himself or herself. So the thing is, so far, the bringing those two groups together never really happened. It was very, very hard because, again, the rules of institutions was preventing that. So we have to break this. We have to make it happen. And so by creating a platform where it becomes easy to match people and projects and needs and skills and resources for science innovation, that was the idea. And so we didn't start right away with JOGL. We experimented in many ways. First of all was an experimentation we did back in the days in 2015 with the FIS epidemium, on which right afterwards Leo and Mark came, and that was really like the start of our brainstorming, where we explored how to use the community approach for working on cancer research. That created what we call common ground. Common ground was not a project like JOGL. It was a research project. The idea was, if we could succeed with epidemium to mobilize 300, 400 people just in Paris for working on cancer research, imagine what we could become in a few years. And we could potentially mobilize dozens of thousands of people at a large scale, at the global scale. But how do you synchronize those people? How do you make collaboration happen efficiently between so many people? We didn't know. And so we decided to explore those points. And Mark will be able actually to tell more about this later on also. And then once we have actually better understood, what was going on, and so we were pretty much confident that creating a platform that would facilitate almost automatically a large-scale collaboration was feasible, we decided to create JOGL. We didn't want to go there right away, because imagine that if it doesn't work, and basically if it relies on human power all the time, we will never be able to scale. Like to facilitate the collaboration of 1,000 people, we will need maybe 10 people, working full time on that. That is not feasible, right? So the idea is that how can we go to the millions without having to rely on thousands of human individuals to facilitate all the research. So here we come. We worked a lot during the past few years, and in July 2019 we launched the alpha beta version of JOGL. This was actually the launch at the CRI, at the Center of Research and Interdisciplinarity in Paris, that is hosting us, and that was a very very emotional moment. It was already 3 years we were working on this, and just for you, look at what happened since a year on the platform. This is the evolution of the community since a year on the platform, where people come from. There is a little island in the Atlantic Ocean, so it's when people actually doesn't provide a location. So we probably can call it the JOGL Island, JOGL continent, I don't know. So it's I think Leo, you probably wants to take over here, right? To talk about how you the platform came to be, how it changed, where it's going. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I'm happy to talk about it. So as I said, we had a bit of a slide management issue, as you can see this beautiful white slide right now.
This is actually a video. Yeah, I can launch. This
oh,
is
that's the video.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the new stuff. Oh, that's the new stuff. I guess, yeah, we can do the, yeah.
Do you want to?
I can do the new stuff. All right, I'm gonna do the new stuff then right now. Okay. So so we've been working really, really hard to be able to bring you some new feature. You can just click play, Thomas.
Okay.
So we've been working really hard to bring you some new features, and so there is just a quick presentation of what we have, and the main one is the new program page. So we basically remade the entire UX and UI of the new program page. It's fully responsive, will work on phone and tablets and computer, and it will normally, you will be able to access your information in a much more simplified manner, so that when you're going to be looking for some information on how to meet us, or some FAQ, or some resources that like micro grants or any other potential things that a particular program on JOGL will offer you, it will be much easier for you. We are also changing the challenges, and so now challenges have a better life cycle, and we're adding a few more tiny details, but one of them is important, which is that now you're going to be able to save your objects on JOGL, but also you'll have notifications that was supposed to be happening now, but the deployment crashed the entire platform, so we had to roll back to the previous version for whatever reason. I am still unsure what happened, actually. I'm very confused, but I spent my entire afternoon trying to fix it and failed. So it's fine. It's you know, it's life. It's exactly, this is the life in the tech world, right? You want to do a demo and just nothing works. But it doesn't. It's okay. You know, we'll just you'll just have to wait like probably just a few more hours, maybe a day, depending on how broken things are.
Maybe you can show the Figma. I mean the.
Actually, instead of showing the Figma, if Thomas, I can show you the or development version. Actually, I can do a small live demo on our other servers, which that one is working. Thomas, if you would allow me to. This was. Oh, right. Cool. I'm on it. Boom. All right. So, as you can see, we're working on dreams here. So basically, this is the new program page. Will basically display the information in a much nicer manner, where you will be able to access the challenges directly, the projects, the needs. That will be only for that particular program, instead of having to navigate in many different locations. But not only this, now you will have this little bell icon at the top, which will show you your notifications, which I don't have any right now at the moment, because this is the development page anyway. But yeah, and very, very soon you'll be able to also have some very, very nice onboarding steps on getting started in a program, which will guide you through the whole thing. And we're gonna basically be working a lot on doing UX redesign. And I guess this is probably what I wanna talk a lot more about, is actually not necessarily what we've achieved right now, which is already amazing, but more what's coming. And so what's coming is that for the end of this year, we're gonna take all of your feedback. During the last 3-4 months, we have conducted hundreds of users interviews to try to understand what was missing. How can we help you do science better? How can we help you do all of the things you want to do on JOGL better? And so we've been collecting all of this, and we're working now with we've been working for a bit now already with a team of UX designer called BioSentinel, which helps us redesign all of JOGL, all of the objects we have, so that they're much more tailored to suit your needs in order to have better open science happening. This is basically going to be our main focus for the next 6 months. By the end of this year, we want to have reached a very stable version, which I will be happy to stop calling it JOGL beta, and I'll be happy to call it JOGL. And then onward of that, this is when we'll be very likely opening plugins onto JOGL. So we'll be able to ask all of you, the community, to you know, like add plugins if you want to. You want to have a citizen science to Zooniverse plugged into your project? Well, we'll have documentation and we'll have help, and we might even have money for you to help us build those sort of things. So this is sort of what's to come in 2021. And that's, to me, the much more exciting feature. I've had videos of the stack of JOGL that would just, you would see it appear in front of you with all the developers that worked on it and each file that touched and things like this. But it won't work right now, so it's fine. But what's more important is that I'll put them on the YouTube of JOGL, and Mariana and Kara will take care of making sure that you guys can see them. Because all of this would not have been possible without the amazing team of people that are working behind the scene. And this is all of the past and current developers that have worked on the JOGL project, along with all of the human side of JOGL, which is all of the coordination team and all of the people who've conducted those interviews and went to ask you questions, right? So all of that is coming together, and all of those people, I just want to thank you, all of you, because you've been amazing at making this project happen. So yeah, I think I'll stop here for the platform part of JOGL, and let Mark tell you more about the amazing community we have and how it's been growing, and how you guys are interacting and things like this. I think, right? That's yes, you after me, Mark.
I think, I mean, Thomas has the slides.
Oh, Thomas has the slide. Yeah, I know.
So I'm good. I'm going to share my screen again. There. Here we go.
Oh yes, that's me. All right, and so I think here it was to trace a bit also, and I think many of you have seen this kind of slides before. It was to trace what was the ambition towards the kind of what we can call community design, which is trying to design paths for connections between people, like in a group, to enhance something that one could call collective intelligence, or like some form of collective action and impact. And I think something that is kind of very premonitory, I think, or like in a paper from 2010 about collective intelligence, where they're trying to measure the intelligence of a group. They said, well, when you have a group, what's nice is that you can easily add people that complement the group skills, so that you have all the skill set for the group to be intelligent at solving a complex task. So, well, that would be really nice if we had better collaboration tools to enhance collective intelligence. And so that's kind of like a bit the path that we're trying to adopt by providing these tool sets to be able to enhance the intelligence of a group. You can go to the next slide. So one path that we've done in the past few years has been to take first examples from communities and from groups that are already solving complex tasks with multidisciplinary background. And one example that we've really get a lot of inspiration from, and that is almost really at the start of our initiatives, have been the iGEM competition, which is a synthetic biology competition where teams of students come up with a project of synthetic biology, come up with models, experiments, reflection on ethics and safety and responsible innovation, outreach, fundraising, all that in 6 months. And they present this beautiful project at the end of the year at the Jamboree, where you have a photo. And it's the first example of really open science, because they began in 2003, and everything they do is open source. Everything is documented in lab notebooks that are open. Every brick of DNA they do is open and put back to the community to be reused. So it's a beautiful example. And what's amazing is that there's been 3,000 examples, 3,000 teams. We know everything they did, and we know the quality of what they did, because they are judged and they have medals and prizes, etc. And so in the past few years, what we've done is look at all this data. And if you go to the next slide, we derived from this data a set of variables and hypotheses and analysis that showed us what were criteria that were overrepresented in teams that performed well. And we saw, for example, in the context of iGEM, that for small teams, you just need to have more people because you need to increase your productivity. But after that, you reach a plateau. And when a team is large, it's not the size that matters so much, it's the way they organize themselves. So a team of 15 can be as good as a team of 35. What's important is the composition and the way they coordinate themselves. And that's really been at the core of suggesting to us, okay, that's really where we need to kind of play, is at the level of how can we help coordinate groups that get large. So if you go to the next slide, some things that we've begun building is a recommender system on the platform. That's something actually that we've been awarded a grant from Nesta, which is a Nesta Collective Intelligence grant. Where we're working with a computer scientist, Pedro Morales, and a researcher, Bastien Tavares, to look at how can we best design an algorithm that can match a person to another person or to a need or to a project based on their shared skill, based on the shared pathways between those elements in the network. And so that's something we've been working on that we're now implementing in the platform, actually with Leo, and it's part of the new releases of this summer. And the way we decided to do that as well, and that's been really helped by the last community, the Open community, that has really helped put together a wonderful team of very, very different backgrounds, and that's the next slide, is that we're inviting over people from really different backgrounds, whether it's computer science, physics, social science, or more recently, we had someone from citizen science to share with us what they think are critical elements for this recommender system and this matchmaking to take place, and how should we design it. And we're trying to make it really as an open source, or as an open meeting, so that we can learn from these different perspectives and build some things that has some kind of transparency and some thought process from diverse, where collective intelligence builds collective intelligence in a way, right? So that's the design of the recommender system. And if you go to the next slide, and maybe actually I don't know if Camille is still around, the community design is not just algorithm, and I would say actually, hopefully, and thankfully, it's not just algorithm and platform. It's a lot also of human side. It's a lot of people, human beings, that will do matchmaking, that will connect to people, that will create events. And I know that Camille had a little connection problem. Are you here, Camille? Are you able to connect to maybe talk about that part?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it works.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. I'm glad it's working. I was scattered a little bit. So yeah, just to follow up on what Mark is saying, is that now we have a platform, we have the technology, right? We have the research that provides evidence on what we should organize, how we should organize, what is working, what is not working. And we have an amazing community. And to me, people are at the center of everything, and this community is at the center of everything. So I think, Thomas, you're going to talk about the programs later, so I'll skip that part. But just like to briefly describe what is on this slide is within the programs, and the first one, we experimented many things to catalyze the work of this great community. So these are like, we organize, part of what we did as coordinators, we organize events, so offline and online. Now they're shifting to more online and decentralized events, so that people can meet, people can collaborate, and you can see that it has had a great impact on the number of projects that were generated at the beginning. So from October, on the figure on the right, from October 2019 to December That was just like our first baby steps. We went from 0 project to up to 20, thanks to events. And what has been, it's not really about the number to me. What I've been really amazed to see is the multidisciplinarity of teams. Like people came from game design backgrounds, epidemiology, or I don't know, research, data science to develop escape games, for instance. Other projects just were very, very various. You could have like apps, you have hardware like syringe pump masks, you have developed like tests for COVID-19. And that's something like from my background, from public health background, where I see that you cannot consider someone's health and improve population health working in silo. This is extremely valuable. So I want to just thank everyone who has been contributing to that, because at the beginning, everyone were saying like we were fools to believe that collective intelligence was possible here, that we could like actually advance open research and innovation in a very open source and distributed manner. And now I'm super glad to see we're more than 4,000 fools. So welcome, fools. I'm really glad you're here. And we're working on more than 200 projects. So it's not silly. It's not naive. It's very realistic and very needed. So yeah, just gonna finish that by saying, but you're probably gonna repeat that again to mine, Dio and Mark, that yeah, at JOGL we're just learning and solving together. Not only on projects, also on structure and governance. This is what we saw with Open COVID-19, and I can't thank you enough for that. So please be involved as much as you want, as much as you can, and we're just like really welcoming with open arms, and we're looking forward to really continue this journey with you. So thank you very much. That was it. I'll be quiet for now. And I see I have purple keys actually.
Amazing.
Thank you, Camille.
Thank you, Camille.
So do you want to continue, Mark?
Yes, indeed. So, I mean, these are just to show a bit in numbers, and I think it's good to have this retrospective view since the very beginning, because often I was showing stuff in the previous community calls and that were related to the last Open COVID program. But what you see is the number of projects or number of users is really dictated as well by these research programs that we put in place to animate and grow the community. And now we actually have a kind of organic growth that has been kickstarted in a way, thanks also to the Open COVID program and community that has built and that has self-organized. And if you go to the next slide, you can actually see that's something that many of you have already seen, but I love to see it because this is the activity of the community on Slack, and what you see is that you have this kickstart initially, and then this decay to this core group of this steady core group in time, and that's really something that has been really amazing to see happen, and to have still very many of you that are very active and organizing and coordinating new programs and new projects. And so we've kind of, on the community side, we've also been very interested with the tools to be able to visualize the community and see the different organs, from people doing AI, meta study, biology, makers, and the people arriving, and to see how all that was coordinated by a core that was much bigger in a way than the original JOGL headquarters. That was helping lubricate a bit the process during that, especially the initial phase of the sprint during this Open COVID setup. And if you go to the next slide, that's another thing about the community, and that's something that we can see because of the registration process, is that many of you are full-time worker, like you're working in a lab, or you're having another work, but there's 1/3 of the users are not necessarily traditional landscape, that can be full-time students or can be in between jobs. Some people are retired. So there's access also to other contributors that would not necessarily be part of a traditional academic setup. And so that's been interesting also for us to see how we can reach out to other spaces. And if you go to the next slide, I've tried to summarize the top skills that are on the platform, because everybody is able to say which skills they have. And from that, you can look at, if you have one skill, if you have several skills, you can link them together if you tend to have those same skills together. So you can create a map that shows you what are the islands, what are the areas of skills that are on the platform. And all these skills are connected. And so you see a bit what type of people we have. And we indeed have like a lot of engineers, hardware people, software and data science, AI, machine learning, biology, as well as other general research, innovation, education skills, as well as project management. And it's interesting because in only 1 year, we were able to touch really diverse communities that now are on the platform and can help each other, right? Because they have such diverse skills, as in they're not so far apart because they're always linked through only a few skills. And that's been something interesting. If you go to the next slide, I just have, oh yeah, the JOGL team. Actually, do you want to take it over, Thomas?
Well, maybe you can explain what we see.
Yes. So that's, okay, we decided to also tell you, because we have another Slack, which is the Slack of the JOGL headquarters. And we've also done some analysis of this Slack just to show you who are the people behind the scene. But first, and that's something that Rathin, who's one of my students, did on the Slack, was to look for the 3 years of existence of our little Slack. What has been happening on our side. And it's very funny because you see that 2018 is the very beginning, like, let's find a logo. And it's really about like the very initial steps. But then 2019 was about UX and thinking the platform development and co-immune program. And 2020 has been development. And you see the dev team, it's what it's all about. It's like, okay, let's now do some development of the platform. And if you go after, Rathin did a little network. I don't know, I hope you have it. Yes, so that's a network of the JOGL team. And so you see a bit here that it's really a teamwork, like everything is connected. And you can see areas where of sub-teams that are like more communication team or that have been more dev team. But it's really a whole, it's really a lot of people. And that's really something that is also, that we should emphasize, is that it's many people in the community and it's many people also in the JOGL team that are really working hard to make all these little things happen and to make sure that everything runs smoothly, and that we make sure that it runs for the community. So yeah, you can maybe.
Well, thanks, man. So next is, when we're talking about the team, and so we JOGL has been growing with the people that joined the team, basically. We started a few years ago, the 3 of us, and now we are actually 16 of us. And it's not only the 16 of us. There was also there are many alumni already of JOGL. You can find them on the JOGL website too. Just wanted to say thank you again. I'm so grateful actually to have such fantastic collaborators. So there are people that are there for more longer than others. Camille, you've been there for more than a year now, and you've been one of the pillars of JOGL. So thank you so much for that. We welcome, for example, the 2 new recruits, Caroline and Mariana, for communication a few weeks ago. It did fantastic, completely changed the way we communicate outside. Leo was speaking of Morjan and Anoop for the UX design, for the dev team also, with Luca, with Corey, with Luis, with Ulysse, and Alex also has been joining us a few months ago and joined Camille, in the coordination of the program, especially Open COVID-19. And finally, also we have Joanna and Thomas, who joined us also a few weeks ago to work specifically on JOGL Africa, as we're working to build specifically a program to support African open science communities. So thank you very much to everyone. It's been really, really fantastic to the JOGL team. So let's continue with the presentation, because I couldn't actually stop it here talking about the team, as we've been helped by so many volunteers. And it would be too long to name all of them, unfortunately, but just wanted to, in the name of the team, to thank all of them, because we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much again. Camille was speaking about it. JOGL is really it's not only a platform. It's a community. It's a community that is very inclusive. Inclusive in the sense that the way JOGL is built and operated is also affected and co-designed by the volunteers. And so we have working groups. We have working groups on different matters, and this is really at the heart of what is JOGL. And it makes sure basically that it's a project that stays also on track to our mission, which is to serve those given communities. Before we play the little video, I asked so many people to share some birthday wishes and some feedbacks, and we created a nice little video that we're going to play at the end. We hope you're going to like it. Just a few words about what's going to happen tomorrow. Leo also gave beautiful hints about what's going to happen on the technological side. But as we've been explaining at the beginning of this celebration, at the end, the goal is really to reinvent the way we do science, the way people can come together to build a scientific project, to build an innovation project. Because when you look at it today, you have mostly two ways to do that. Either you are part of the academic world, or you are actually working on the problem where you can have a business model, a working business model, and then you create a company. On one side or the other, it has a lot of limitations. On one hand, academic systems is not large enough to cover all the problems in the world, and it's only restricted to a very few number of, like a little number of individuals, as we've seen it. And the entrepreneurial side of things, even though it's very exciting, very useful in many ways, especially with deep technology and social enterprise, it has to stick to problems that can be solved with a working business model. And this is the minority of problems in the world. So being able to provide a support of informal groups, we've seen in the Open COVID-19 program so many projects that were created by people that didn't know necessarily each other before, were not part necessarily of the same world, coming from the entrepreneurial side, the academic side, the community side, the public authority side. And so, at the end, one thing that we really want to achieve on the long term is being able to say, why can't we have research team, that could be affiliated, let's say, to JOGL, and they can use JOGL to find resources to do that research. They don't have actually to go through the whole, the complicated path to either build a company or to build an academic research laboratory. It's why can't you actually be able to make a living, even potentially, out of your research or your work directly on JOGL? And so it brings many different kind of aspects of how you make this happen. And it's a long-term goal for us. And it asks for new kind of technology. Leo was speaking about it. It asks for new kind of services also, and new kind of community management and animation, as Kenny was also explaining. So it's a very it's kind of like we can renewing the ambition of JOGL, as we did a beautiful proof of concept with all of you during the pandemic, is how do we grow this even further? How do we sustain you not only when, once the crisis is finished, it's like, no, we need actually to grow this. It should not be sustained, it should be growing still, and it should become actually a true alternative to the academic system. So this is the kind of thing we want to build. And it's at the end, it's about how do we bring all common motivations, open resources together so that we have collective achievement, we create inspirational stories that brings even more people and resources in the game. So it's you've seen that figures, it's all about creating open teams between leaders, contributors, and enablers. And we exactly have seen that during the Open COVID-19 program. And especially, for example, with the system of microgrants. Microgrants have been kind of like a small revolution for us. It has changed our relationship with the community. Being able to support financially projects so that they don't have to pay from their own pocket money the proof of concept, the prototyping of that project is really key. And so being able to benefit from a network of partners, what we call enablers here, has been key for making this whole thing happen. And so I'd like to actually thank them right now, because again, this will never happen without them. And so I say the main ones that really help build JOGL today, the AXA Research Fund, the CRE, iGEM, Nesta that also Mark talked about, APHP, the Paris Association, Paris Hospital Association, the AFD, Agence Française de Développement, Sanofi, with whom we did our first research program last year on vaccination, and they trusted us. We didn't have anything at first. And so they trusted us with just the vision, and so we cannot thank enough them for this trust, because again, we would not be able to have something ready for the pandemic if Sanofi wouldn't have trusted us. So thank you again, and Sherit, who has been also a key partner in helping us build the first alpha version of the platform, and many more. And so again, thank you so much, and I think it's time for for the birthday wishes. So stay with us. This is going to be fun. It's about I think 12 minutes video that compile everybody's videos that you sent us in the past few days. In the name of the JOGL team, again, thank you so much for being here with us and celebrating this birthday, this first anniversary with us. It's been quite a ride, and it's just the beginning. So let's see if it works. It's a pretty heavy video.
Thomas, there's no sound.
There's no sound, Thomas. No.
Yeah.
There's no sound.
No sound.
No sound. Oh no.
If you go to share your screen, you can share the screen with sound. Do you remember? I think.
Okay. How do I do that? Help.
Do you think it's possible to stop sharing your screen and then restart sharing your screen again, so that you can maybe click on the call?
Yeah, let's see. Advanced sharing option.
Okay,
we can sing a song with them.
Parsi gave the solution. Partager l'écran, sur la droite en bas, choix de partager le son.
I don't see
okay.
the.
When you click on share screen, at the bottom of the window, where you can pick the several windows, at the bottom there are two buttons. Partager le son de l'ordinateur et optimiser pour un clip vidéo plein écran.
I don't see that.
Il faut aussi cocher d'ailleurs les deux pour qu'on puisse avoir une bonne vidéo.
Well, share screen. Let me see if I'm now in the settings.
The window should say share computer sound on the bottom left.
Ouais.
Yeah.
Can you, okay, what, you know what you can do? Camille or Mark, you have the host power. You have the link on YouTube of the video. Can you try sharing, maybe Mark, because I guess you maybe have a better internet connection?
Can you send me, you sent me somewhere?
Yeah, it's on the Slack. I can send it again.
Have it, do it if you want.
Yeah, can you send me? I have the button to share screen with, okay. Where are you?
There.
Okay. All right. It's on YouTube. All right. Okay. So I'll try.
Everybody can actually watch it.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now share screen. Okay. I will do Google Chrome. Share computer sound. Optimize screen share for video clip, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good.
Maybe because I'm recording the screen in the meantime. Maybe that prevents me actually from doing this because I don't have this option, strangely. Okay.
First.
And now, one thing that's very important, you can all know what Mark's recommendations on YouTube.
Totally.
This tells so much about you. YouTube recommendations know you better than yourself.
Feliz aniversario. Happy birthday, JOGL. Hello, JOGL community. I'm Steve Chente. I'm based in Paris. I'm one of the co-founders of Acuro Lab.
Hey, JOGL community. I'm Tarek. I'm based in New York City, and I am also one of the co-founders of Acuro Lab.
Hey, JOGL. My name is Nana Kwame Sichirusu. I am based in Dallas, Texas, and I am an engineer on Acuro Lab.
Hi, JOGL community. I am Paul Dakum. I am based in Abuja, Nigeria, and I am the Chief Data Officer at Acuro Lab.
Hi, JOGL community. My name is Marilyn Osei, and I am a co-founder of Acuro Lab. So a little bit more about Acuro Lab's product. We are a WhatsApp channel that allows users to send in their texts and COVID-19 related messages, and we return or provide to them relevant and verified information based on the theme of the text that they sent in. We engaged JOGL soon after winning the MIT COVID-19 hackathon. We were quite excited to join JOGL. The partnership came at a time when we had just won the hackathon and were ready to hit the ground running. The experience was quite smooth. JOGL coordinators were always available to make sure that our transition to the JOGL community was seamless. Since joining the Open COVID-19 community, Acuro Lab has onboarded 2 new team members to improve our algorithm and refine or optimize our data strategy. Acuro Lab was awarded by JOGL in its 3rd round of microgrants. These funds have allowed us to set up our current infrastructure, incorporate the organization, and cover other expenses to allow us to launch the product to users by the end of July. Finally, the Open COVID-19 and JOGL community consists of a group of brilliant, motivated people with the advice and expertise and mentorship needed for a wide range of topics. Our advice to others interested in joining the JOGL community is to dare. Join the community and be open-minded to collaboration and discussion.
Just one giant lab that's going to change the world, and I'm happy to have been a part of it. Happy birthday, JOGL.
Happy birthday to Just One Giant Lab. I know this is the first of many. JOGL has been an incredible resource to connect with researchers around the world who share an ethos of collaboration and science for the public good, rather than one of competition and profit. Thanks to a microgrant from JOGL, we have been able to launch our project of making molecular detection of SARS-CoV-2 accessible to everyone around the world. Only a decentralized and distributed testing paradigm can allow us to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the other infectious diseases that continue to plague the world. Once again, thanks to JOGL for helping us along the way.
This is Pauline Chain. I am the Student Outreach Coordinator at the Open COVID-19 Initiative. I just want to say hi. I'm a little camera shy, which is why you have this bear with a bilingual sign. I just want to say happy birthday to JOGL. Happy first anniversary. I think this is just the beginning of many more amazing things to come. And I'm very happy to have been a part of JOGL for the past 3 months, despite all the hubbub that has been going on this year, that I was able to find a space to really learn about myself, communicate and grow and learn new things and meet new people and work together on something that is truly amazing. So I am just super thankful to everything that JOGL has provided me these past few months, and I look forward to supporting it in any way I can. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, JOGL.
Hi everyone, my name is Juliet. I'm working at the AXA Research Fund, which is the scientific philanthropy initiative of the AXA Group, and our mission is to support science. We've been partnered with JOGL since the very beginning, thanks to Thomas, who is actually an AXA Research Fund alumni. And I must say that it's great to be part of the JOGL venture and to support you guys in everything that you've developed so far. It's a great pleasure to work with you because we share the same values of course, open research, but also community and cooperation, which are extremely important to keep, especially in this challenging time that we are all going through. So congratulations for everything that you've done. We look forward to continuing working with you, and happy anniversary, JOGL.
I joined JOGL at the beginning of the quarantine, and I was blown away by the diversity of people and skills on here. Being part of this community has been a thrill so far. It's kept me stimulated, and I've gotten a lot of new ideas that have sparked from the inspiration I found from other members, and I'm looking forward to more in the future.
Our project is optimizing the NEB LAMP test. LAMP is an isothermal amplification method that has great possibilities for creating a COVID-19 diagnostic.
LAMP is a great technology to enable anyone who wants to test themselves or others. It doesn't require expensive or sophisticated equipment, nor does it require a trained laboratory scientist or clinician to read the results.
Our overall goal is to eventually get away from all commercial products and all hard to get components of the test so that we can avoid cold chain and anyone in low resource settings could do this test.
Really privileged to work with an amazing group of people from all over the world through this amazing collaborative platform that is JOGL.
Hi JOGL community, this is Safe and Sound team. Thank you for providing us with micro grants, and we would like to wish you happy birthday in many different languages.
Hello JOGL community, I'm going to wish you happy birthday from Safe and Sound team in Hindi. Janmdin Mubarak ho.
Happy birthday in Punjabi. जन्मदिन या बहुत बहुत बधाइयां हो.
Happy birthday in Urdu. So जन्मदिन बहुत बहुत मुबारक.
I'm going to wish you Tamil. Ranjanal Valpikal JOGL Samugam.
Happy birthday in Mandarin. 生日快乐.
I'm going to wish you in English. Happy birthday.
I'm going to wish you in Spanish. Feliz cumpleaños.
I'm going to wish in Arabic. Eid Milad Tayyib. I'm going to wish you happy birthday in Swedish. Grattis på födelsedagen.
I'm also going to wish you in English. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear JOGL. Happy birthday to you.
Ẹ kú ọjọ́ ìbí o, JOGL. Ire ni o from Nigeria, View Square.
Bonjour, je suis le Dr Roman Konsari, je suis chirurgien maxillofacial à l'hôpital Necker et je souhaite un très bon anniversaire à JOGL.
My experience with JOGL has been just amazing. It allows me to work with people all over the world, and I've met some of the most amazing, dedicated, wonderful people that feel the same way I do about social responsibility. And I can't thank JOGL enough for giving me this experience.
I feel so privileged of being part of this beautiful family of individuals that are all willing to be part of the change. The world right now needs open and free science. And it's exactly what we're building all together. So I'm really proud. I'm really proud to be part of this community. And, well, happy birthday, JOGL.
Just one giant lab. 1歳のお誕生日おめでとう。
Hello, JOGL. I wish you a happy birthday. I take this opportunity to say thank you. Because with you, I feel like being part of a community which will push me and will give me the strength to achieve my project with my team. It's very important really to have this positive energy to continue. I am so happy to be in contact with so many people around the world, and I look forward to making the link between this community and Guadeloupe, my island in the Caribbean. What I like the most being part of the JOGL community is to assess the project. I like it because I'm curious, so I like to know what the other teams do, and I like it because everyone is astonished about the project. There are so many clever people in this world. Thank you for that.
Hi, this is Aquarium. I want to congratulate JOGL on its first year of Open Science, officially complete. And I'm so glad to be able to participate as part of the Do It Together SARS-CoV-2 detective team for the Corona Detective Project. We're really glad for the support and the ability for us all to work together. Keep up the good work, Thomas, and all the team from JOGL.
Durant le pic de la crise du Covid-19, nous avons mis en place avec la PHP et l'Université de Paris une structure d'impression 3D d'urgence à Port-Royal qui comprenait une soixantaine d'imprimantes et qui a permis de produire durant les mois qui ont suivi son installation plusieurs dizaines de milliers de dispositifs innovants qui ont aidé la PHP à surmonter cette pandémie inédite. Dans les premières phases de l'installation de cette plateforme, nous avons reçu beaucoup de propositions de design intéressants venant d'ingénieurs indépendants, venant d'universitaires. Et JOGL nous a permis de structurer ces demandes en créant des groupes de travail dédiés aux questions posées à la PHP et en permettant d'avancer sur des questions spécifiques d'ingénierie médicale, par exemple la création d'un pousse-seringue électrique. Et cette interface a mis en commun les compétences des ingénieurs, des universitaires et des médecins pour favoriser l'innovation rapide.
Joyeux anniversaire, JOGL.
Feliz aniversário.
Happy birthday, JOGL.
Hi, my name is Eugenia and I work with an organization called Lecturers Without Borders. Under normal circumstances, our main activity is to organize lectures or seminars from scientists in schools and universities all over the world. The COVID pandemic limited traveling for scientists in our network and stopped on-site activities in most educational institutions. So we decided to devote more time to developing online lectures and podcasts. In JOGL, we are leading the project Global Free Webinars for Students of the Open COVID initiative. With this project, we aim to empower students not only to understand the current outbreak of COVID-19, but also to get a broader understanding of biology, scientific research, epidemiology, vaccine development, and all the challenges and limitations of our current knowledge. Joining JOGL has allowed us not only to develop this program, but to enlarge and enrich our network of scientists and of institutions. And most of all, it made us feel part of a bigger family. Today, we would like to congratulate and thank every member of JOGL. We hope that this community will keep growing, and we are very happy to be part of it.
Joyeux anniversaire, JOGL.
The Moala team of Cameroon would like to wish JOGL a happy anniversary and many more learning and solving together. Happy anniversary once more, JOGL.
L'équipe du Moala à Yaoundé au Cameroun souhaite un joyeux anniversaire à JOGL. Merci beaucoup pour tout le travail que vous faites. Joyeux anniversaire. Happy birthday.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
One candle is for one very bright year. С днем рождения. Happy first birthday, JOGL. It was an absolute pleasure of mine to help co-organize the Open COVID-19 initiative, and it's been amazing to see how the initiative has grown and how the platform itself has changed so much since we started back in March. Although it was quite challenging to figure out some of the best practices and ways to organize such a big, diverse group of people, it's been absolutely inspiring and rewarding to see thousands of individuals come together from all over the world to tackle some really pertinent issues. I cannot wait to see what JOGL has in store for the future and how it will revolutionize the way we conduct open science. Best wishes, and once again, a huge congratulations. I am so honored to have been part of your journey, and I cannot wait to see what's next.
All right. I think it's done. Thank you so much to everyone who shared the video with us. It took us, well, it took me some work. I'm not a video editor, but I hope you're pretty much happy with the results. I think I am. Well, I think it's up to us to do what we want. Unfortunately, we don't have, Zoom has not yet the ability to share drinks, through the screen. Again, thank you so much for being part of this community. It's been the best ride so far, and I cannot wait to see what's coming up. So, should we stop the recording now? I don't know.
No. So much, yeah. The very first time I watched the video of everybody saying happy birthday, I cried a little, to be honest. Like, it was just
it's a bit emotional, yeah.
Should we sing happy birthday?
All right. I almost want to say back to work, but
I'm gonna say the version of JOGL to push on the main stack. Yeah, Thomas, photo, the group photo. Wait, Thomas.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. Special picture, group photo. It's so let's make it happen. Can everyone activate their video stream? It's going to be a special one. Awesome. I'm going to make several pictures because we are too many, so I will have actually to take 2 pictures. All right. Say hi, happy birthday! Okay, I'll take another one. Up. And happy birthday! Awesome.
Happy birthday! Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone, again. I wish you a good summer. We're going to reduce the rhythm of the global community call, as we said last time. We'll have one every 2 weeks. And so the next one will be in 2 weeks, basically. And that will be probably the moment where we'll be also announcing the next round of micro grants. So keep in touch. Anyway, we have the Slack. If you have any questions, if you're new to the JOGL community, reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you understand how to navigate through the platform and the community. But thank you so much, everyone, and talk to you and see you soon, I hope.
Come on. Happy birthday to you.
Let's do that.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear JOGL. Happy birthday to
you.
Happy birthday, JOGL.
Thank you, guys.